What did you overhear when someone didn't know you understood their language? My doctor had no idea I spoke fluent Spanish. I'm half Mexican but inherited my dad's pale Irish genes, so everyone assumes I'm just another gringo who thinks Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. I was getting my annual physical when Dr. Martinez stepped out to grab something. His nurse, Rosa, walked in to take my blood pressure. She was probably mid-30s, professional, but I could tell something was bothering her. That's when another nurse poked her head in and asked Rosa something in rapid Spanish. Rosa glanced at me, saw a typical white guy scrolling his phone, and started venting in Spanish about her morning. Turns out her teenage son, Miguel, had been suspended from school again, fighting. Rosa was explaining how the other kids keep calling him wetback and border hopper, even though he was born here. Yesterday, some kid told Miguel his mom was probably an illegal who cleans toilets for a living. Rosa's voice cracked as she told her coworker, Miguel came home with a black eye and asked me if I was ashamed of being Mexican. How do I tell my 15-year-old that I'm proud of who we are when the world keeps telling him we don't belong? The other nurse tried to comfort her, but Rosa continued, I have a master's degree. I save lives every day. But to these people, I'm just another Mexican who doesn't deserve to be here. And now my son is starting to believe it. She started checking my blood pressure, and I could see her hands trembling slightly. Rosa was holding back tears, probably thinking about her son sitting in the principal's office, ashamed of his own heritage. The other nurse left, and Rosa finished her measurements in silence. Professional mask back on. When Dr. Martinez returned, he asked Rosa in English how everything looked, and she gave him the numbers in perfect, unaccented English. But I heard the pain in her voice when she thought no one understood. After Dr. Martinez finished my exam, I asked if I could speak with Rosa privately. She looked confused, but nodded. I switched to Spanish. Rosa, I heard what you said about Miguel. I want you to know that you're raising a warrior. Her eyes went wide, complete shock. I continued in Spanish. My mother came here from Guadalajara with nothing. She cleaned offices at night and studied English during the day. People like your son and my mother built this country. Miguel needs to know that. Rosa started crying. Real tears. Not the professional composure she'd been maintaining. I told her about my mom's journey. How she faced the same hatred but never let it dim her pride. How she taught me that being bilingual wasn't just a skill. It was a superpower that connected me to my roots. Before I left, I wrote down my mother's phone number. She runs a mentorship program for Latino kids dealing with exactly what Miguel is going through. She'd love to meet him. 2 weeks later, Rosa texted me a photo. Miguel, wearing a traditional Mexican shirt, standing next to my mom at a cultural pride event. He was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in months. But that wasn't the end. 3 months later, I got another message from Rosa. Miguel had started a Latino culture club at his school. The same kids who used to bully him were now asking to join. He was teaching them Spanish phrases and sharing stories about Mexican traditions. The principal called Rosa personally to tell her that Miguel had become a leader. Other Latino kids who used to hide their heritage were now proud to speak Spanish in the hallways. Miguel even convinced the cafeteria to add authentic Mexican dishes to the lunch menu. Rosa told me that Miguel carries my mother's business card in his wallet, not because he needs it anymore, but because it reminds him that being bilingual isn't a weakness. It's a bridge between worlds. The kid who once asked if his mom was ashamed of being Mexican now leads the school's Cinco de Mayo celebration. Last week, he gave a speech entirely in Spanish, then translated it to English. The whole auditorium stood up and applauded. Rosa's final message was in Spanish. Thank you for reminding my son that being Mexican isn't something to hide from. It's something to honor. But more than that, you showed him how to help others find their pride too.